make it too long, a brief but provocative reflection on some of the issues that we've discussed this afternoon. And as I sat there and I was listening to the panelists, I could see the tension in the topic between publishing on the one hand and childhood studies on the other hand. And I'm not sure that we have done a good job in terms of resolving that contradiction and that tension. But actually, I'm not hoping that it will be resolved because it can't be resolved. But you can't but ask yourself the question, who cares? Who cares whether you publish? And who cares whether you publish on childhood? Why does it matter? And some of the comments that I'm hearing are reflecting on that question, that people should care, right? And that, in fact, they should care that it's on childhood, right? But I think we have asked ourselves an even bigger question. Have we made a sufficient case for us to care as academics, number one, for policy actors to care about childhood studies, number two? And I think that is the basis of a continuing discussion that we should be having. Because partly if we as academics do not make the case, nobody will care about it. And are there instances when academics have made a case for something and policymakers have listened? And the answer is yes. There are instances where academics have made very powerful case for a particular thematic issue of concern, and everybody has listened. That is the story of CODESRIA, right? And so, as I listened to all of you making your arguments, I thought that we have an opportunity to actually begin to think even more about this topic, to begin to understand the extent to which certain aspects of what we are talking about ought to go in books and journals, but certain aspects of it do not need to be in journals. And I think what I'm hearing from the participants is a very conflicted question, right? About, on the one hand, yes, I need to publish, yes, I need a career. But I'm not too sure that we have answered the second question, that knowledge for its own sake is actually not very useful ultimately. That yes, you develop, you have a career and you do very well, you publish. But what commitments are you channeling through the kind of knowledge that you are producing? I think that's a very important question to bring back on the table. And in the particular case of childhood studies, it's even more important because you are dealing with the subject and you are dealing with a category of people whose agency is often defined by others, not by themselves. And that the nature of the relationship between the childhood and adulthood, if you will, is a relationship that forces you, the adult, to read into the child action and begin to imagine what their agency should look like. And that puts an enormous burden on the intellectuals. Let me make also a point about the policy work, which I think is also very important. And I think all the panelists were raising this question, that do we understand the policy process? We constantly are talking about policymakers, making listening to us, making policies that speak to us. But do we understand the policy process? Do we know who populates the bureaucracies in our countries and what they are thinking about when you are pushing a policy brief to them? Some of them would be thinking about T-break. Some of them would be thinking about a per diem. Some of them would be thinking, yes, I have a commitment to this thing, but the minister will not approve. Right? In other words, the point that Ian is making, that is a complicated terrain, in my view, is the first step to begin to understand the policy process, but it's not the last step. I think the next step is to say, what does complicated mean? And how do we as academics make an intervention that begins to struggle with the complicatedness while actually advancing your message? And I don't think we've done a very good job in doing that. I'm not saying that it's a weakness, I'm saying that it's a reality. That constantly when you are doing academic work, you have to think about the complicatedness of the policy process. And let me conclude on a point that Divine tried to respond to, but I feel he didn't do it very well, so I want to help him. Because I am the ambassador of CODESRIA here. And my friend, I'm not trying to defend the fact that CODESRIA doesn't publish your manuscript on time. That's not the point I want to make. We are guilty, we are working on our guilt, and we will improve. Okay? And I know my colleagues, I know Divine, I know Shifao, I don't know if, I know Osime is there, I know Dauda is sitting there, they are all here, right? Our point is not that we want to defend it, but let's deal with the reality, because I think if you don't understand it, it becomes difficult. That we are among the few people who publish, right, as a commitment. As a commitment. Oxford University Press, Cambridge University Press can afford to dismiss you even before they read your book. And in CODESRIA we have examples of manuscripts that were rejected by established publishers and we published, and they have done very well. Right? So in the process of making sure that we tap into the potential, we end up doing almost double what we are supposed to do as a professional publisher. And it affects the turnaround. Now I'm not saying that we will be using that as an excuse to defend ourselves, but I'm saying, can you understand the context? Can we understand the context of publishing on the continent? Let me take this opportunity to thank Tatek, the director of the Child and Youth Institute, Tieno, resource person in the institute. I think there was another resource person last week who left. Okay, she's here actually. I saw you last week. But there's also someone else, I think, who is not here. Thank you very much for the work you have done with the laureates of the institute, and for just making sure that you take a little bit of what we ought to be doing as members of staff in the secretariat to make sure that we transfer this knowledge to the laureates. My hope and belief for the laureates is that you are going to remain firmly connected to the director and the resource persons, because the ideal situation is that we want to be hearing you as a network of people who came to CODESRIA at a particular moment, continuing the debate. And we will not force you to remain within CODESRIA to do that debate. You can conduct that debate anywhere. Just remember to mention that we started it here, because for me that's absolutely important. Let me thank Ian and Divine for joining the panel and for the interesting presentations you've made. Let me also thank my colleagues in training grants and fellowships. Ibrahim Owanda is sitting at the back as if he doesn't want me to say that he's the head of the department. But thank you very much, Ibrahim, for leading the team. Dauphin, I think the fellows know Dauphin more than they know Ibrahim, and I think that's as it should be. Thank you very much for your work on this. And where's Emily? Emily is right there. And Dominic, more often than not, when people come to CODESRIA, they thank the executive secretary for doing a wonderful job. I like people coming to thank me, and I'll welcome any thanks you want to extend to me. I won't tell you that they're the ones who did everything, and all I did was to sign across the papers they gave me, right? So it's perhaps for me a good moment to be able to say publicly that I'm really grateful that you've done good work on this. Any members from other institutions who have come to CODESRIA, please come back again. We would be happy to see you here repeatedly. If we don't satisfy you, please let us know that you haven't satisfied us. If there is anything you want to contribute in helping us understand how to do it better, please feel free to talk to us. And finally, let me thank all the other members of staff from CODESRIA who are here, who in one way or another have contributed to the success not just of the institute but of everything that we do. I know there are many that are seated in the audience. I want to appreciate you and to thank you very much for being here and for doing good work with us. I think that at that point I can shut up And I don't know what else I need to do. I think I should hand it over to you in order to tell us where we are going next. But I think you are also reminding me that I should remember that my two friends there have been making sure that when we speak in one foreign language, they translate it for us into another foreign language. And they are the unsung heroes, I think, of this process, because they have to listen to all of you. And at times you say words that they don't know, but they have to find a way of making sure you understand. So thank you very much, colleagues, for the good work you've done, and we do appreciate that. I'll hand over to Dauphin to give us instructions on where next. Thank you very much.
Merci, Monsieur le Secrétaire exécutif. Je pense qu'on va passer directement au cocktail. Merci et bon appétit.